Denise, Denise, it's Denise, it's Denise, it's Denise, Denise, it's a podcast party, it's a podcast party, it's a podcast party.
I gotta say, I feel like we're besties now after this. What's up, guys? It's Denise Salcedo. Hey there, everyone. Welcome to the show. Happy Wednesday. We are here to chat AEW Dynamite Fight for the Fallen, July 27th. This podcast sponsored by Wrestle Rumble. I'm your host, Denise Salcedo, and boy, what a show did we have here today. I thought for the most part, the set, like the lead up into Fight for the Fallen, like with the card and everything that we had announced was perfectly fine, right? But I feel that today we ended up getting so much more than maybe a lot of us might have expected going into the show. So I came out of this thinking like we got a couple of really good wrestling matches across the board. We got some unexpected surprises, some unexpected turns that happened on the show. And then on top of that, we got a couple of announcements with some belts, with some city debuts. So there's kind of a lot to get into for today's episode of Dynamite. Now, before we hit it off, before we go ahead and talk about everything that went down on the show, if you are new here, if you are new to the channel, just a heads up, if you want to get your question, comment, or statement read on the air, you are more than welcome to send in a super chat. If you send in a super chat, you get your questions, comments, all of that read here on the stream. Not only does that help you get some spotlight here on the show if you want it, but also it does help support me as F4W Online, does allow me to keep 100% of the proceeds after YouTube takes their cut. So it does help me out, keeps me funded, keeps me going here today. Now, before I get into all of that, I do want to go ahead and also give you guys some heads up on my schedule for the next week, because things are going to be a little bit different just for next week. So for those of you who do not know, I am getting married the day after SummerSlam, which is why I'm not in Nashville. So I will be gone all of next week. I will not be here on F4W at all from Monday through Friday, Monday through Sunday. Technically, I will be on vacation, on a honeymoon. I will be gone. So you guys will not be seeing me here next week, which means I won't be here Tuesday, Wednesday, or Fridays, or be doing any videos for the latest. So I will be gone for an entire week, but then I will be back. And when I come back, I'll be back to my normal schedule of Tuesdays covering NXT 2.0, Wednesdays AEW Dynamite, Friday SmackDown, and Rampage. Now, I will be here this Friday to talk about SmackDown and Rampage. So I will definitely be here this Friday. Thank you guys so much. But now let's go ahead and get into AEW Dynamite Fight for the Fallen. We're kicking things off with our first super chat of the day. Thank you so much to Reggie Simmons. Here has my back, says, once again, Dynamite was dynamite. Happy wedding day, my sister. Thank you so much for this generous comment. I really appreciate you sending this in a whole lot, dude. And I completely agree with you. It was a very, very solid episode of Dynamite. And I gotta tell you, like, the last couple of, days, it has been so newsworthy, in terms of wrestling news. We've just been like, different things have been hitting us left and right, but the majority of it has been WWE related. Obviously, coming off of that Ring of Honor show, we did have a lot of, Ring of Honor news to discuss, the whole situation with Jonathan Gresham and all of that. But for the most part, it's been WWE heavy, and it feels like so much of that attention has been on WWE. And today, with today's episode of Dynamite, it kind of took a life of its own in the sense that, sorry about that, guys, I was getting a phone call. It kind of took a life of its own in the sense that we just really legitimately got a good show. And I feel like a lot of people are talking about the product and talking about a product in today's week in a positive way. Like, all the comments that I'm getting right now about this show are all completely positive stuff, man. And I feel like right now, like, with Tony Khan, he recently did an interview with Busted Open Radio where he was kind of talking about the changes that happened in WWE and how a lot of fans were basically, having this conversation that now with Triple H essentially, running head of, as the head of creative, and then Stephanie and Nick Khan as co-CEOs, there's been a lot of conversation about whether or not, current AEW, ex-WWE wrestlers would have either stayed in WWE if these changes happen or if they would go back to WWE. And he spoke about that today on Busted Open Radio. And I kind of sensed a little bit like, Tony Khan basically saying like, this is silly. We got, he basically gave us some more information on Adam Cole and Malachi Black's contracts and all of that. So I kind of feel like maybe Tony Khan went into this show thinking, I'm going to put on a damn good show and get people talking about AEW. And that's kind of how I felt, coming out of this show. But let's go ahead and get right into it and why we had a pretty kick-ass show for today. So, the night opened up with the interim AEW World Championship match, and that was Jon Moxley defending against Rush. And it was something that, here's the thing, guys. When Rush first came into AEW, I remember, obviously I was at the show, and I remember it being like this big moment, but the first moment that I actually got to talk about it here on this podcast, I remember telling everybody, like, if booked correctly, he can be a big star. He has all of the elements, all of the attributes, all of the tools, whatever you want to call them, to be a big star in AEW. All that's required is, a push, the booking, and all of that, right? And how many people don't we say this about? But particularly speaking for him. Okay. Now, I feel like some people might have been on the fence about that because either maybe some people were unfamiliar with some of his work prior. Maybe a couple of people just didn't see it yet. But regardless, I feel after, the match with Dragon Lee at Ring of Honor and then this match today with Jon Moxley and some of the other items that we've been seeing, just throughout recent appearances on AEW, I feel like more people are starting to get on board the Rush train. So I feel like people are finally just kind of reacting. I was on Twitter today and all I saw were positive comments, not just about this match, but about Rush itself. So it was really cool to kind of just see that. And so let's talk a little bit about what went down in this match. So first and foremost, I think that what really made this particular match special was the way that it got started. Now, I feel like there have been times, and I forgot exactly when it happened, but I recall being on here and kind of talking a little bit about Jon Moxley and Jon Moxley's aura and Jon Moxley's vibe and how, so sometimes you don't always get the person opposite of Jon Moxley to kind of fit that same vibe with Jon Moxley, right? And I remember talking about that, I think on the last show when I think it was with the tag team match. I remember talking about it with that. That was the show where I was talking about that. And today, one of the things that I wanted to say immediately was that Rush came in here and he instantly matched that energy with Jon Moxley. And when you match the other person's energy, you really do, like, they started off hot. They matched energies and instantly it felt like, okay, shit's about to go down. Let's buckle up. Let's pay attention because we're in for a good one. And instantly, I mean, like, Rush came in here and was basically like chops, drop kick, biting, that bite on Jon Moxley's head, like within a minute or two into the match, Jon Moxley was already busted open. The man was bleeding. And then we have this very sick interaction where Rush essentially gets the blood of Jon Moxley and then just literally licks it across his hand in a very interesting fashion, if that's how you want to say it. And so I loved that he just went full blast, in there. There was a moment where he was choking Jon Moxley with the cable. And then after this, we get a chop exchange between both guys when we come back from commercial break. And then finally there's this whole moment, this whole time, it kind of feels like Rush is the one getting the momentum on, getting the upper hand on Moxley. And then finally Moxley ends up hitting him with a lariat. And that kind of gets him down for a second. And just when you think, oh, this match is about to turn tables, we end up seeing Rush instantly get back up and just literally suplex him. So I really, really loved the fact that there was no downtime in this match whatsoever. It was go, 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 go. Finally, when we see fast forward to Andrade coming out, Jon Moxley is on the top rope. Andrade ends up pulling the leg. The Lucha Brothers come out, chase Andrade out. So that ends quickly. I'm kind of glad that it ended quickly because I didn't want them to take away from the match that they were having. So I was glad that even though it was an interference, it didn't take up too much of the actual matchup. So anyways, afterwards, we end up seeing Moxley hit the Death Rider. When he did, the crowd freaking lost their minds with the near fall. It garnered such a big pop during this. And this was the moment where I was like, frick yeah, like hell yeah. Like this is the kind of thing that, fans, like AEW fans, like you get behind somebody who's able to pull out certain emotions out of you from a match. And they were able to do that with Moxley and Rush here. So that was great. Moxley ends up winning via submission. And I don't ever actually think that I saw Rush tap. And if somebody can correct me if I'm wrong here, but I don't even recall seeing him tap. I think it was just like literally him passing out, unless they showed it really quickly or they didn't show the angle, but I never actually saw him tap, but I might have missed that. So anyways, this match itself was kick-ass. I thought it was good. And if they consistently keep they keep this consistent with Rush, it's going to be a big win for AEW because the man has what it takes. He has what it takes there. Afterwards, we did get the Jericho Appreciation Society coming out, and we got a back and forth promo between Jericho and Moxley. And this was great too because this was all leading to a match between the both of them for the interim AEW World Championship at Quake at the Lake on August 10th. But basically, I thought the reason and why a lot of people who liked this thought that it was good was really just because Jon Moxley told Chris Jericho, like, he doesn't want the king of trademarks. What he wants is the lion heart. Like, he wants Chris Jericho, the Chris Jericho that people know, love, and respect. Again, not the king of trademarks. So it was a very like straightforward and clear, concise, badass little promo from Jon Moxley that we got there. So I think this, just top to bottom, good match that got somebody, a little bit more over, and then also led to this championship match that we're going to be getting in a couple of weeks from today. So all of this I thought was a win. And thank you to Shelton Jackson for notifying that he did pass out. Thank you very much, because I didn't see the tap and I'm like, I think he passed out. All right. So let's see what we got here. My name is not Earl, says you're really putting this Rush guy over, Denise. Let's see what else we got, guys. Gerardo Alvarez says Rush he said just got just as much momentum as Andrade in one match, says Gerardo Alvarez. We got a super chat here from M. Durrett. Thank you so much to M. Durrett. Once again, guys, if you want to help support me, help support the show, you are more than welcome to send these in. M. Durrett says, Dynamite was a great show. I hadn't heard of it, but I do the dollar dance to dance with a pre-marriage Salcedo, not Mary Salcedo. A brother's not trying to get choked out. Congratulations, Denise. Thank you so much. For those of you who do not know what M. Durrett is referring to, Sean and I had a discussion about a dollar dance because he didn't know what that was. For those of you who do not know what that is, it's just like a custom that people do in weddings where you dance with the bride and groom and you pin money on their clothes. So anyways, that's what he's referring to. Thank you so much to M. Durrett for the very kind and generous super chat. All right, guys, and let's go ahead and continue on from here. Let's get into the AEW World Trios Championship tournament that was announced. So I feel for the longest time, everybody forever was like bringing up, when are the Trios Championships going to come about? I swear to God, like every single press conference, there was one media member who would ask, when are the Trios Championships coming out? We would get a media call. When's the Trios Championship coming out? Every single time, the fans, everybody was asking. Well, we finally got the official announcement, and the official announcement is that we're going to be getting a tournament. We still don't know the details of the said tournament. We still don't really have much to go off of. All we know is that at All Out, we're going to be seeing the first Trios champions for AEW essentially get crowned here. So first of all, I'm just glad that we're done talking about when these dang trio championship belts are coming. But other than that, I know that a lot of people instantly are, obviously picking who they think is going to be coming into, who they think is going to be getting the trios championships. And that obviously depends on what you guys want to see and how you guys think. I saw a lot of people. I would say that the number one faction that I got of people saying that they wanted to become the trios champions was definitely the House of Black. Like, I just kept seeing that all over my Twitter feed. Now, and the other thing was, and we've talked about this before, when people would ask, when are the trios championships coming about? Tony Khan had said that he was waiting for Kenny Omega. And so now that got a lot of people thinking, hey, is Kenny Omega going to be able to make it to All Out after all? This still isn't necessarily confirmed. Obviously, you know, he's aiming for it, but it's hard to say as of right now. But this does get a lot of people wondering, hey, are we going to see Kenny Omega at All Out? I don't freaking know. I don't even want to say like, oh, I hope we do. And I hope we do, but I'm saying it in the way that I hope we do because, you know, I'm a fan of Kenny, but at the same time, I want him to like, you know, take his time and do what he needs to do to get himself better. And I've been reading so many of those quotes that he has done from several interviews and just like hearing him talk about like his injuries and, you know, things that he's going through. And he even talked about how, you know, sometimes fans always expect wrestlers to like, you know, they get injured and then they come back and then everything's good again. And, you know, he kind of said how things can't always be like that. And that was something that he talked about in one of his interviews. And so that kind of got me really thinking about his situation. So again, I do not know if we're going to be seeing Kenny Omega at All Out for sure. We'll find out. And I'm excited to hear the details of, you know, this tournament. But for once, I'm just glad that we don't have to no longer be wondering when these championships are going to be coming out. Of course, there were a couple of people on Twitter that were like, too many belts on AEW. That's it. Too many belts. I don't know what you guys think. Do you think that there's too many belts in AEW? I kind of felt that way in the beginning. I felt like there are too many belts. But because everybody was asking for them, I thought, shit, maybe I'm in the minority. And if I'm in the minority, then I might as well shut the hell up because clearly people want the AEW trios belts regardless of whether or not we have too many belts. All right. Plus, there is a lot of teams, guys. Like, there's a lot going down there. But let's go ahead and see what people are saying. Thank you so much to both Gerardo Asensio for sending in this generous super chat. And same thing to Mark LeBlanc for also sending in this super chat. I appreciate the both of you very much for sending these in. All right. And let's get some thoughts and see what people are saying in regards. I think a lot of people are excited for these. Fernando says, I'm so happy we are finally getting the Trios Championship. I have been waiting for this for a while. Major Blood says they're starting to feel like too many belts, but I feel like it wouldn't be so bad if there were more TV time. Well, I mean, they got, you know, the 3 hours of TV time, which is really not enough when you think about it legitimately. When you think about the roster, when you think about, you know, all of the, how do I say, all of the standards, right, that fans have, they have a lot of high standards for AEW and, you know, this many of that, and they want this and this and that. It's a lot. And at the end of the day, Tony can't please everybody, right? I think we've gotten this. Nobody can please anybody. Nobody can please everybody. But with that being said, they do have high standards in terms of like the fans are expecting a lot. And I don't blame them because shit, even I expect a lot. I'm guilty of this. I'm guilty of expecting a lot. But regardless, I do think that having the trios belts is going to add a little bit of excitement, clearly as what we're seeing from people's social media reactions. We got a super chat from Mark Charisma. Thank you so much to Mark. He says, what a dynamite. I'm surprised Tony picked that stadium for Toronto. To be honest, Bank of California would be amazing for an LA show. Arthur Ashe at the WC type of show. So let's go ahead and talk about that. Since Mark did bring that up, let's go ahead and jump into that. So later on in the show, we got the official announcement that AEW is headed over to Toronto, Canada. This is another item that has been brought up. Guys, I'm on all the media calls. I'm on all these press conferences. So I don't know how many of you guys listen to these when they go up on YouTube and all of that. But if you've been listening to multiple of these, trust me, everybody's always asking the same thing too. When is AEW going to Canada? And so when they finally announced this, I thought, thank God, because this was another question that was that Tony was constantly being asked. And so they're officially going on October 12th, and October 13th. They're going to be going to Toronto, Canada. So this is the official, Canadian debut for AEW. Good for them. Obviously, with the pandemic, a lot of cities, a lot of places were, long overdue. I mean, look at how long it took them to get to Los Angeles. Look at how long it took them to get back to the West Coast, period. And there's still so many West Coast cities that they haven't even hit. And, instantly after this Canada stuff, people are going to be asking about, well, people have already been asking about the UK and all of these other places, right? So I'm glad that this is now just a, hey, we're trying to make this happen. This is officially really, really happening. So I think fans will probably, if AEW hasn't come to your city and there's a good chance that they're coming to your city, this feels a little bit more probable now. But either way, I've never been to Toronto. I've never been to Canada, so I can't even talk about the location that they're in. As for California, the thing about California is that, especially Southern California, I'll talk about Southern because that's where I live, and there are a ridiculous amounts of options of places that AEW can run. Obviously, they ran the Forum, and they did very well at the Forum. I loved the Forum. The Bank of California, like Mark brings up, is another great venue, but even you can even move up to like Orange County. You have the freaking Honda Center, which was the former Arrowhead Pond. I still think like the Staples, Crypto.com Arena. There's just so many different options in LA. I won't even get into that. It's both LA and Orange County, actually. All right. Thank you so much to Mark Charisma for bringing up this super chat and getting us talking about AEW and Canada. We got a lot of people. Yep. Crazy Jay saying like Bay Area, Seattle. Exactly. Those are also places that, I don't think Northern California hasn't gotten any AEW stuff either, because I would have gone to those shows if it was in Northern California, but nope, they haven't done anything yet too. So there's still a lot of places that AEW needs to officially hit up. Well, anyways, for those of you in Canada or near Toronto that are planning to go, that's October 12th and 13th for Dynamite and Rampage. All right, and let's see what else we got here. And this is crazy. So this is a comment from Bryan MF Paul, who says, SoCal is the mecca of West Coast pro wrestling. I kind of feel like right now, honestly, besides GCW, nobody is taking advantage of this like LA market. Like right now, GCW legitimately owns this market right now because nobody else is really coming down here. Damn, like WWE hasn't came here in a very maybe like a year or so. I'm trying to remember when they did a Smackdown here last year, I believe. Either it was the end of last year or the top of this year. I forget. My years are a little blurry, but even then, it's been a while since they've actually ran a show here. And AEW, they finally did their Los Angeles debut at the Forum on the 1st of, June? Yeah. But other than that, like, we haven't gotten much out here, and it's freaking baffling to me. But anyways, let's continue on. All right, let's go ahead and get into my favorite segment of today's show, guys. I'm so excited to talk about this. And this is the Ricky Starks, Danhausen, Ricky Starks hook, Ricky Starks Powerhouse Hobbs segment. So this top to bottom, we kind of got a lot in here, a lot of different things. So I'm going to break it down as best as I can. So we kick things off with the Ricky Starks video. It's kind of like this, I don't even know how to describe it, this like Vogue-esque type of life. It's a very lifestyle video, it almost looked like if you would have taken out the audio and we would have just maybe had the music and just like the flashes, the shots. I think if you would have not known that you're watching wrestling, you would have thought you were watching some sort of fashion commercial, some sort of perfume commercial, I don't know, Fashion Week, something along those lines, because it was very, very lifestyle-ish. And, he ends it with he has the turtleneck and the gold chain, and he's like, absolute. And I forget what he said at the end, but he adds absolute in there. Whatever. The point of this was that it was beautifully shot, and just like the concept and the aesthetic of all of this was really freaking great. So, good stuff there. But let's get into this match with Danhausen. So this is for the FTW championship. And So this match really wasn't much. It was a quick match, and Ricky Starks ends up winning with the spear. And at this point, I'm thinking, man, they really haven't utilized this Hookhausen stuff. Like, this is the point where I was thinking in this, like, situation. I started thinking, like, I'm assuming they're going to incorporate Hook into this somehow, but I don't know in what way, right? I didn't know in what way. But the one thing that I was thinking about, too, was that we haven't gotten much with Hookhausen on Dynamite on Rampage. Like, we got them, doing their little golf cart thing a while back, but I do kind of wish that we got more of these like creative segments with, Danhausen and Hook just kind of bonding together. That is something that I would like to see incorporated, or had been incorporated. Wish that it had been incorporated the last couple of weeks, because Hookhausen for a period in time was like the hottest, one of the most talked about things for a period in AEW Dynamite. And then they like got together, they became friends and this and that. And then we kind of just didn't really get to see much else after that. And so that's what I was kind of thinking about during this. So anyways, Ricky Starks then calls out another challenger, and that's when, obviously, at this point, everybody was expecting Hook, so Hook eventually comes out, and this ends up being Hooks versus Starks for the FTW Championship. So this was fun. This was fun because the second that Hook came out, you were like, okay, we know the way that they've been booking Hook. We know what to expect from his matches, and this was pretty much what we've been seeing in previous matches, where he goes in there, he dominates, he looks good. He got some really quick like body shots onto Starks. He was hitting them fast and furious. Got him with a headbutt. And I mean, at this point, the crowd is like really, Hook is very much still over with the AEW crowd. And so clearly they were reacting to that. Afterwards, Ricky Starks hits him with the exact same spear that he hit Danhausen with. And then he goes for the Rochambeau, but instead Hook ends up countering it, and he ends up getting the win with his red rum. And afterwards, we have a brand new FTW champion in Hook. So Hook is officially holding gold in AEW. While it's not a recognized championship in AEW, it's still a championship. It's still gold. So this was a pretty cool moment for Hook, I think, especially given the history of the belt, his dad, and just the entire thing. I thought kind of was like a nice like little full circle coming together. So this was cool. I enjoyed this. Good for him. But this is the part that I really enjoyed. This is the part that had me floored, okay? Now, I love AEW, right? I'm a fan, this and that, and there's great stuff on the show every week. Okay, let me put that out there first. But there are only certain moments that I think really get me, like either as a surprise or like an oh shit moment, or like a real legitimate, genuine reaction, okay? Like there's times where I'm like, oh yeah, that was freaking dope. Oh, cool, right? But no, I'm talking legitimate surprise. This was it right here. I don't get to have very much of these moments, and this was one of them. And even though I know there's going to be somebody out there that's like, oh, I saw it coming. Well, you know what? I didn't, okay? I'm a fool. I didn't see it coming. So Starks loses the championship, right? Then he gets on the mic. Tony Schiavone's interviewing him, and Tony's basically, telling him like, bro, you wanted another opponent, and look, you lost, right? So Starks then comes in and starts cutting this babyface promo, and he starts going on about how, people can say what they want to say, but he made the FTW championship, relevant right now, that he brought the title back to prominence. And then he said that, his time is now, that he's tired of people saying that he's had a string of bad luck, that it's been bad timing. And he's basically going like very passionate. And we've all heard, a lot of what, people have been saying online about Ricky Starks, and the whole thing with his neck, and that being a whole thing, him being off of TV, and just everything that encompassed Ricky Starks the last couple of years. So he's going on, man, and he's very, very passionate. Like I cannot duplicate the facial expressions that Ricky Starks was doing, because that's one of the things that Starks is really good at, is like promo work and all of that, right? Well, he showed out today. Really, really did. And so he's going on, and I'm like, yeah, like this is good. Ricky Starks appreciation tweet, right? And I completely was so zoned in and focused into what Starks was saying, I completely forgot that Hobbs was even there. I completely forgot. And the next thing you know, Hobbs just freaking sucker punches him in the goddamn face, gets him with a spine buster, and lays out Starks. And while many people may have seen the turn coming, it was in that moment that I got so sucked into this Ricky Starks promo that I was not expecting Hobbs to do that to Starks in that very moment. So with that being said, I thought the execution of this was phenomenal because Starks did a great job selling what he was saying and getting the people like, you know what? Damn, Ricky Starks, you know what? I may have not liked you before for those that didn't like him, but you know what? I like you now, man. Respect, bro. And so I think while we were so busy focusing on that, that the Hobbs thing kind of came a little bit as a surprise. So I think this is freaking, this is exciting because obviously, you know, they needed something for Hook. The FTW Championship's a way to go. And Ricky Starks, you don't want to leave him just high and dry. Like, there's so much potential with Ricky Starks. And part of me was wondering, like, damn, now that Starks doesn't have the FTW Championship, what's next? And then, bam, this Hobbs turn thing happened. You know, Starks, babyface now. So this is going to be exciting to see. I'm excited to see how this is all going to go down, especially after what we saw here today. So honestly, I think that Starks deserves his flowers today. He really does. I'm a fan. Roberto Arsenal sends in a super chat saying, by the way, thank you so much to Roberto, who says, Ricky Starks has the it factor. I really do feel Tony Khan put on a great show tonight as a response to the questions he was asked about WWE. That was exactly what I was saying at the top of the show, that I hate to tie things in together, man, but clearly it's at the forefront of my mind. So I couldn't help to tie it in with this show. And I think so too. I think Tony Khan was like, I mean, I can't speak for Tony Khan, right? But I'm just putting myself in his imaginary shoes, that maybe he had a little bit of a chip on his shoulder and was like, I'm going to go out and put a good show. Anyways, but yeah, I completely agree with you. I do think that Starks has the it factor. And we've been saying it so many times on this show too. And Gerardo Alvarez says Stark week. I love that. All right. He clobbered him. Completely agree with all of that. Cameron Mumford says the rise of babyface Ricky Starks begins, and I'm all here for it. This man is clearly underrated and being a potential main eventer, and he's going to deliver big time. He's that guy. I think so too. Because, even like now when people think of like, if someone were to tell you like, oh, name the top 5 guys that you're like really excited about for AEW, like if they would have asked you this like a month ago, I don't think Ricky Starks would have probably been on that list for you. Maybe some of you, yeah, but maybe not everybody, right? Because there's just so many other people. But I think that, especially after today's promo, I think he might be on a couple more people's list in terms of like, quick, think 5 guys that are going to have a great future in AEW. Something along those lines. We got a super chat from Sheldon Jackson. Thank you so much to Sheldon for always sending in so much love in here. Says, I agree that this is Ricky Starks' time. That fire and passion feels like he's been saying this backstage for a while now, and people are listening. Well, dude, can you imagine? There's got to be some pent up. We always talk about how, the really good promos always have a little bit of like realism to them in terms of like real life stuff, things that really, that they really coincide with either the story that's being told or the person or whatever. I really do think that there was a lot of truth, a lot of damn truth actually, to what Ricky Starks was saying and how he was essentially expressing himself. Because man, like think about it, seeing all of these guys come into AEW, have their big moment, and you've been there for a while, and you know that you've got something special, but you just haven't had the proper opportunity to showcase that. I'm sure that could get a little frustrating, kind of waiting for your turn. And so and then, he had the injury for a while. And then even when he was already cleared, he was still off of TV. So he did have to do a lot of, scratching and clawing his way back up to, getting more TV time and just being remembered on the show. And let's be real, that roster is stacked, man. So you really got to be fighting to get your, TV opportunity. So I do think that there was a lot of truth to what Starks said in this promo, a lot of truth to, in terms of how he felt behind the scenes. Thank you to Sheldon Jackson for sending in this super chat. All right, guys, we actually got another super chat from J Mills 98. Dude, thank you guys so much. J Mills says, legit hands on head mark moment for me. Beyond excited to see what the near future holds for Starks. He's a good guy too, guys. He's a nice person. I've had nothing but fond, well, like, what was we did an interview together, and Starks was like, I remember when we rode an elevator together. And I was like, holy shit, you remember when we rode an elevator together? That's it. Friends for life. J Mills 98, thank you so much for the generous super chat as well. All right, guys, let's go ahead and continue on from here. Let's get into Dante Martin versus Sami Guevara. While this match, look, this was a fine match. I do think that it could have maybe been just a little bit, I don't know. I don't want to say better. That's not fair to say. I don't think it's not fair for me to say a little bit better. It's just that it wasn't my favorite match of the night. You know, we had the Rush Jon Moxley match, and then, you know, later on we're going to talk about the main event. So it didn't crack my top favorite matches of the night, but it was still a good match. It was just on a night that had a lot of other stuff that was just a lot better than this one. I think that even though we got a lot of good spots here between Dante and Sami, the way that I described this match was kind of, that whole song, the anything you can do, I can do better. That's kind of how I saw this match, where it was kind of like, Dante was, we know that Sami and Dante are really good at all like the aerial stuff. They're really good high flyers, this and that. Sami's obviously on a little bit of a different level than Dante, but regardless, they still do really cool shit, right? Both of them do. Okay, so that's the way I kind of saw this match, but I don't know. I think there was a little bit of a disconnection for me for this one. Like, even though we were seeing some cool moments, I just don't think that the entire match came together through like nicely. Like, we had a bunch of the puzzle pieces, but a lot of them just didn't connect. I don't know what it was, guys. I don't know really, but it was a fine match. It just wasn't, I think, what I was expecting. I think it could have been just a little bit better, but I don't want to say it was bad, because me saying it's a little, when I say something could have been a little bit better, it kind of sounds like I'm saying it was bad, but I don't want to say that because it wasn't bad at all. So I don't want to bury this match or anything like that. It just wasn't, I've seen better from two guys that can do this type of style. That's what I'm trying to get at. All right. Damn, I was trying to save myself, and I'm like, nope, I don't think that sounded good either. No, you know what? I'm going to stick with that, though. I have seen better from two guys that can do this type of style. But regardless, some good moments for Dante, especially there, too. Sami ended up hitting the GTH, gets the win. I didn't like the post-match shenanigans with Ty and Sky going at it, and then Anna Jay coming out and, double teaming Sky Blue, and then Ruby coming out. All of this wasn't for me. This wasn't doing anything for me. I was a little bit disinterested. I think at this point I kind of zoned out a little bit. I was like, all right, on to the next. Thank you. Next. In words of Ariana Grande. All right, let's go ahead and continue on from here and see what people are saying. This is from Andrew, who says, Dante and Sami have great chemistry. Totally want to see this again in the future. But my favorite part of how much personality Dante showed making fun of Sami. Big improvement for Dante there. And we got Eric Lewis, who also says that Dante and Sami was awesome. Agreed. Well, somewhat agreed. Somewhat agreed. All right, let's go ahead and continue on from here. All right, let's get into this Jungle Boy promo, where Jungle Boy officially became a Jungle Man. Now, we've all been, the last couple of weeks, we've came in here and we've talked about how Christian Cage has literally said everything that he can possibly say to Jungle Boy, excuse me. He has tortured the guy. I mean, I'm surprised he's not pulling up stories from Jungle Boy in 3rd grade and humiliating him based off of that. I'm surprised this man hasn't found his ex-girlfriends and brought them on screen, because that's how savage Christian Cage has been to Jungle Boy. Just so incredibly savage. So obviously Jungle Boy's got to come in here and get himself back, get out there and defend yourself, bro. Go out there and fight. So Jungle Boy goes out there, and the first thing he says is, Christian, you're a pussy. Now, I want to start off by saying that I'm going to be that person right now. But before I get, okay, I'm trying to pick what side of me I want to show first. First and foremost, okay, I'm just going to be completely honest. I get why people's always, especially guys, they always say like, oh, pussy, you're a pussy, and it's supposed to be an insult. I get it, but I'm going to be that person. I hate that because you know what? For those of you here with a pussy, you know for a fact that it is the most like badass thing because I don't know how to describe it, man, but look, I'm just tired of a pussy being seen as something that is less than, that is less superior, and that people are like, we're always so used to saying like, I got balls, grow some balls, and well, I use that saying, which is perfectly fine. But you know what? A pussy is stronger than balls, okay? And that's my problem. But anyways, now that I let that part of me go, I just want to let people know that, you know, pussy's not a bad thing. But now that I let that side of me out, this was hilarious because he just comes out and he's like, Christian, you're a pussy. And then the fans start chanting, pussy. God, I hate saying it on camera. I really, really do. But the crowd is chanting it. And then after this, I'm cackling. You know, you can't help but to laugh. Even my hardcore feminist self was laughing. I literally wrote, oh God, I don't even want to write. I don't even want to read what I wrote on my notes here. But anyways, so this kind of got over, and now I can't disassociate Jungle Boy with pussy. So there you go. That's now forever embedded in my brain. Anyways, so he goes on and he just continues, man. Jungle Boy basically said that he didn't get it at first. Like, why was Christian so bitter? It was just a one-match thing where he eliminated. But then he says, quote, that he remembered, quote, you needed money because you were strapped for cash after your wife divorced your bitch ass. Literally said that. Now he's talking about this man's wife. And Christian Cage deserves it. Let's be real. He deserves it. Christian Cage said far worse things, and he continued to say far worse things. So then whatever, we continue on. Christian Cage pops up on the Titantron, and he ends up basically saying that, that he, draped Jungle Boy in gold, something like that. But then he says, the next thing I'm going to drape your body with is with a body bag. And well, that's savage. But then he continues on and he says, and you're going to cozy up and lay beside your dad. And we all know his dad unfortunately passed away. So he's literally saying, I'm going to kill you, and then you're going to go to the grave with your dad. Like, that's freaking savage isn't even a good enough word to describe that. But Christian Cage really has been leveling things up, right? But even then, I will tell you this, though. My favorite line from all of this, even the dad stuff and the grave and the body bag and the pussy and all of this, my favorite line was from Christian Cage at the end when he said, you told me all your secrets, and now I'm going to prey on all your weaknesses. I loved that because it's true. He was this, he became a mentor to Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. They were a trio. They were a team for a bit. They were together. And obviously, we're supposed to see it as, they're traveling together, they're friends, this and that. Obviously, secrets get told, secrets get exchanged, your vulnerability, your guard gets, down a little bit. And we all knew that Christian Cage was going to turn on Jungle Boy. We knew from like a year ago. We knew this. So when Christian Cage basically said, you told me all your secrets, we're like, yeah, we can believe that. And now he's going to prey on all his weaknesses. I loved this. This was great stuff from Jungle Boy. Great stuff from Christian Cage. All right, let's see what we got here. The Red sends in a super chat saying, I agree with you, Denise. Personally, I'm a big fan of pussy. Shouldn't be a bad thing. Jungle Boy and Christian went in with both promos. Oh, man. I can't. Sometimes I think to myself, Denise, stop saying on these shows what you're really thinking. But Durrett, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate it. All right, let's go ahead and see what we got here, guys. Oh, man. I'm dying right now in some of these comments, guys. That's my favorite thing about this show is that I feel that the people that come on here, I've cultivated an audience that is very, very funny. Pascual Vela says that should be a t-shirt. Pussy is stronger than balls. I mean, technically, I could probably make the t-shirt and like brand it and like promote it and whatnot and maybe get some sales out of it. But I don't think I'd be able to live with myself telling my mom that I'm making money from a shirt that says pussy is stronger than balls. Like, how would I go about telling my family that? You know, like, oh, hey, grandma, and then translate that into Spanish. No way. All right. Matt Kensley says, oh no, Denise, speak your mind. It's fucking hilarious. If you only knew, guys, and I'm filtered here on these shows, by the way, because I'm a professional, but if you only knew some of the things I say off camera. All right. I'm going to stop burying my own self. I'm putting myself in a body bag. I'm about to bury myself 6 feet under. Ain't about to do that. All right, guys. But before we go ahead and move on to the rest of the show, we got some items to go ahead and talk about here today. And that is, let's give some love over to WrestleRumble.com, guys. So Wrestle Rumble, they are sponsoring this podcast. And, I love them, man. They're freaking awesome because they're so cool. Basically, what we got here with Wrestle Rumble, for those of you who are like, what the hell is that? What is Wrestle Rumble, Denise? Well, it's a place, a website where you can go on, you purchase an entry for the SummerSlam Pick'em contest, for example, or any of the major WWE or AEW pay-per-views, and you purchase an entry. You get asked a bunch of different questions about that given pay-per-view. For SummerSlam Pick'em contest, some of the examples are, will the Liv Morgan versus Ronda Rousey match end in a pinfall or a submission? Will there be a Money in the Bank cash-in? How many suplexes will Brock Lesnar give Roman Reigns? Different questions like that. Pretty easy. Well, the person that scores the most points in these goes home with a prize. And the prizes that are for this particular SummerSlam Pick'em contest are: third place is going to get a mystery crate. Second place gets $300. First place gets $500. Now, not only do you get to have fun and predict stuff and, add an extra layer of excitement to your pay-per-view or premium live event watching, but on top of that, you never know. You might get, you might get all the right stuff and you might get a lot of points and you might end up actually winning a prize. So you'll never know if you don't actually check it out and try it for yourself. So once again, you can head on over to WrestleRumble.com and purchase an entry. The contest is officially open. It's open. You can go right now. Well, don't go right now. Go after the show or go right now. Open another tab. I don't know. And the cutoff time to enter is Saturday, July 30th at 8 p.m. Eastern time. So as soon as the pay-per-view starts, get it in right before. Get your purchase, your entry right before, because it closes right when the pay-per-view starts. Once again, head on over to WrestleRumble.com. Cutoff time to enter is Saturday, July 30th at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Please give Wrestle Rumble some love. All right, guys, we're back now. Here we go. Thank you so much. Hey, it's 554K. Dude, what's up? 554K, I know you. Well, I know you because you come on the BTW. If you come on the show a lot, I'll memorize your name. All right, 554K says, sorry I'm late, but that promo was Jungle Boy's best promo and a bit off topic, but you're funny and you're awesome. Thank you so much, dude. I appreciate that. And in terms of Jungle Boy's best promo, I agree. I don't think I recall any other promo that I really loved from Jungle Boy, unless I'm forgetting one right now. I don't recall any other one. So thank you so much for sending this in too. All right, guys, now let's go ahead and jump into our next match here. This was a handicap match between Tony Nese and Smart Mark Sterling against Swerve Strickland. This was okay. I mean, really what we have to talk about is the post-match stuff. It's a quick match. Swerve ends up pinning Smart Mark Sterling, so nothing much to really add there. But what we need to talk about is the Keith Lee attack, because Keith Lee is attacked backstage. First, he is shown watching the match, and then he is shown knocked out on the ground. And it turns out that he was attacked by Josh Woods, former ROH Pure Champion. So, with that being said, it's another way of just Tony Khan incorporating Ring of Honor into AEW. This is fine. To be honest, I think that Josh Woods has a great look. He has a great look. But in terms of my excitement level, I think right now, he's just a guy to me. Nothing more, nothing less. So I kind of want to see a little bit of what he's going to be bringing to AEW. Because here's the thing, guys, with so many people on the AEW roster, like you got to be extraordinary now, like extraordinary, for me to really be like, yes, this person is here, you know, because other than that, I'm just like, oh man, we got somebody else now. Shit. You know, there's a lot happening here. You got to be really, really something for me to be like, yes, this is happening, you know? Anyways, that was that. All right, let's go ahead and get into this women's match here. We got Thunder Rosa against Miyu Yamashita. I really hope I didn't mess that up. I probably did. This match, let's talk about this match though, because it was a pretty good match. And this is what I think we need to get more of with not just Thunder Rosa as AEW Women's World Champion, but whoever is AEW Women's World Champion needs to have more matches like this, these opportunities to have matches like this, because this was entertaining. People were interested. People were into it. They kicked things off at a really nice speed and just kept the action going throughout the entire thing. There were some moments where you kind of felt like they were, you know, kind of being rough with each other, and it really worked out in this match. Like I really like seeing that, like them just like kind of like struggling with each other, like outside the apron. I thought was really great. I liked that. It was a fun little matchup, and I think people were into it, and it just kind of gave you a little bit of a reminder of like, oh, hey, this is our AEW Women's World Champion. And oh, hey, I really like our AEW Women's World Champion. She's pretty good in the ring. Look at her go. We need to constantly be seeing our AEW Women's World Champion, regardless of who it is. That is an important championship, and it needs to be featured on the show constantly. Good match. Good win for Thunder Rosa. We need more of this. Simple. I hate to be that person that's like, you know, possible standards and here and this and that, and you know, we need this and we need that. But in regards to this, I do feel very passionate about this. We do need to feature your AEW Women's World Champion. 1000%. There's no leeway there for me, in my opinion. All righty. Here we go, guys. Before we get into our main event, just a quick reminder that this Friday, I will be here to chat about Smackdown and Rampage. And then once again, guys, I will not be here next week. I won't be here Tuesday. I won't be here Wednesday. I won't be here Friday because I will be in Hawaii for my honeymoon. It's my one and only vacation. And after this, I will not be able to go on vacation again for a very, very long time because, yeah. Life is expensive, guys. Life is expensive. Let's just leave it at that. But anyways, this will be my 1 week's vacation that I've hadn't taken in like years, okay? So I won't be here next week. I just don't want you guys to show up and then think that I'm going to be here and then I'm not. But then I want you guys to come back the following week because then I will be back. Keep an eye on Twitter. I post everything. All right, we got a super chat here. Thank you so much to Sheldon Jackson for always being so generous. Sheldon says, the foundation are heels now, Lethal, Gresham, and now Woods. Now all we need is for Rhett, Titus, and Tracy Williams to show up and be heels on AEW Ring of Honor. I kind of hope that's something that to be honest, I'd rather have them save that for Ring of Honor when they get, you know, their Ring of Honor television than incorporating too much of it into AEW because there's just so much going on in AEW that I want to see, and I want to make sure, you know, that separation is there. So that's personally how I feel about it right now. Thank you so much to Sheldon, though, for the very kind comment, super chat, excuse me. And Eric Luis, thank you so much for sending this in. Eric sends in a super chat saying Thunder Rosa is lit. Also here is the Mexican translation for pussy stronger than balls in emojis. Oh, in emojis. Spider over eggs. I don't think I know the Spanish translation for lady parts. Do I know the Spanish translation for lady parts? I might. Hold on. Someone commented or something because I'll know it once you say it. Don't comment it on the comments. Tweet me later on. Guys. Or I'll ask somebody. Because I'm pretty sure I know, but I don't want to say it on the air though. Saying it in English is awkward enough. But thank you so much to Eric Louise for sending in this super chat. Seriously, thank you very much. All right, let's go ahead and get into the lineup that for AEW Rampage. The AEW Rampage lineup is Matt Sydal versus Lee Moriarty, Ethan Page versus Leon Ruffin, Anna Jay versus Ruby Soho, Jay Lethal, Satnam Singh, and Sanjay Dutt versus Orange Cassidy and the Best Friends. To be honest, like this, it's okay. Like the lineup's like, that's all right. Oh man, and that's this Friday. For a second, I thought I was gonna miss this. I'm not missing this. I'm watching this. Oh man. Okay, I was kind of hoping for something a little bit more, I think, for Rampage. Dynamite, we had the Undisputed for next week. This is the show I won't be watching, but we're gonna have the Undisputed Elite return. Thunderstone versus Dr. Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter. Damn, I want to see that. Christian Cage versus Matt Hardy. That should be fun. Okay, it's a decent show, and they said they're gonna be announcing more matches for Dynamite on this Rampage. And then AEW Quake by the Lake. Jon Moxley, Chris Jericho for the AEW Interim World Championship. That should be fun. But now let's go ahead and get into the main event of the night, because this is the one where I think we got kind of a bit to talk about here, because this one kind of ended a little bit unexpectedly. Now, I know like the story of the match was basically having like Bryan Danielson kind of look like he came back from injury way too quick. And obviously Daniel Garcia saw that and capitalized on that throughout this match. First of all, I know Daniel Bryan wasn't gone for that long, but for the time that he was gone and, you know, him coming back, instantly I was like, damn, bro, I forgot how hard he hits, man. With those freaking strikes that he does. Man, it was like someone was doing it like right here, right by my ear, because that's how the effect is so loud, right? But anyway, so Garcia capitalizes on, you know, Bryan Danielson's misfortunes here, and he basically lays in a bunch of strikes. And even though you know, Danielson was like, there was a moment where like Danielson was like hitting Daniel Garcia on the back of the spine, which I really like that part, where she was like trying to get every little bit of what he had to like try and like weaken Daniel Garcia, because he knew that he himself wasn't at a 100%, but Daniel Garcia was. So to kind of have that difference and seeing that in terms of like Bryan Danielson like actually going in and just like trying to find any sort of way to like bring him down, I loved that. But anyways, there was a brutal spot where Daniel Garcia did a DDT with onto the concrete, to Bryan onto the concrete, which was a little bit brutal. This was good. Then afterwards, we kind of just see some back and forth shots between Bryan Danielson and Daniel Garcia. Bryan's chopping him. There's a moment where Danielson starts kicking him until Daniel ends up falling into the mat, just like laying there like he's practically lifeless. And at this point, I'm thinking, okay, this is officially my favorite Daniel Garcia match. And I thought, okay, you know, he's getting his stuff in, but they're still going to find a way for Bryan Danielson to win, right? Because Bryan Danielson is not somebody that you just see lose very often, especially to somebody like Daniel Garcia. Because even though, you know, Daniel Garcia is making his way up there, he's not on Bryan Danielson's level, you know? They're still on different levels, right? So you're thinking, okay, he's going to find his way to win, right? So then we see someone hold the leg of Bryan Danielson, and you kind of just see a little bit of the arm. You don't really get to see much. This was probably the only bits that I didn't like, but whatever. Afterwards, he ends up, Daniel Garcia ends up hitting the pile driver and then locks in the sharpshooter on Bryan Danielson. And then after this, is when he essentially passes out. Like, he just passes out. That's it. He passes out, and freaking Daniel Garcia ends up winning the match. And I'm thinking, holy shit, they just had him defeat Bryan Danielson. Like, this is not something that happens very often. So this was a very surprising thing to me. I'm a little 50-50 on it. I'm 50-50 on it because I don't think I like to see Bryan Danielson lose in this fashion, but they really made Daniel Garcia today. I really do think that today they made him into a bigger star. They made him into somebody that it's not just, oh, he's going to be good. You know, he has a lot of potential. They were like, no, you know what? We're starting this now with Daniel Garcia. Like, this is it. Like, we're going to go into that next level. We're not just talking about his potential. No, we're going to start executing that and actually putting it into like full, like in motion, right? But I was a little bit torn. I was just like, I don't know. Like, I'm happy for Daniel Garcia. This was a great match. This was my favorite Daniel Garcia match, but it was something seeing a Bryan Danielson just, essentially pass out and, not finish this match. It was, it's not something that I was expecting to happen. It really, really caught me off guard. And I think that's part of the reason why I don't know what to say. I don't know how to react to this because I don't necessarily love it. I really kind of don't love it. But at the same time, like, I don't love it for Bryan Danielson, but obviously he doesn't need it because he's Bryan Danielson and he's great and this and that. And this did like so much for Daniel Garcia, like so much. Like, he reaped so many benefits. Like, dude had a freaking awesome match, main event of Dynamite against somebody like Bryan Danielson, and then ends up getting the win. Like, shit, you can't ask for anything better than that. So where do we go? Like, I didn't care for the Jake Hager portion of this. I really did not care for that portion of that. I really did not. But regardless, I still had the holy cow moment is really, I think, how the ending of Dynamite left me, where it was kind of, I didn't know, I was stumped. They stumped me, man. They really, really stumped me. Let's see what people are saying. How did you guys feel about this in terms of this match here? And this is from Pomi Wrestling, who says, fun fact, next week marks a year since Daniel Garcia's Dynamite debut, where him and 2.0 lost to Moxley, Darby, and Eddie. My name is Errol, says Danny is a made man now. King of Fuego Mundo says the crowd was on their feet. And this was also during the show, there was a moment where like a fan was just like shocked, right? And Jericho on commentary was like, look at that mark. Oh, I love that part. That was really hilarious. Really, really hilarious. Let's go ahead and get some more thoughts in here and see what people are saying. Mike New York predicts Jericho versus Bryan at All Out. This is from Nightwing84, who says, I'm so sick of Jericho Appreciation Society, and I'm so sick of Jericho having to be in every segment, beginning and closing of the show. I see a lot of people with this criticism, so I think it's a fair criticism. I think it depends on the person, man. You either have, like, you're either interested or you're not interested or you're half interested. Like, we can't all agree on the same things, right? Let's go ahead and get some more thoughts in here. This is from Christopher, who says, Daniel Garcia beating Bryan Danielson tonight was a shocker for me. YT says, I feel like Hager interfering took away from Garcia's win. It wasn't needed. It wasn't needed. Yeah, definitely not needed whatsoever. Our Rig says, I think it was a great win for Garcia, but I just don't think he has the charisma to go to the next level. We've been seeing more of that charisma, a little bit more. He's been getting way more comfortable. I remember when he first started, it was like non-existent. The charisma was like non-existent, but it's definitely gotten there so much more. Yeah, there's been an improvement for sure. Fresh Corn 23 says, I thought it was cool because it was unpredictable, and I'm glad they're making a new star with Daniel Garcia. We also got, thank you so much to 554K who sends in a super chat saying, congrats BTW, and thanks for all your hard work and wrestling news. I'm happy I found this channel. I hope you have a great honeymoon. Mucho amor. Thank you so much. Seriously, dude, I appreciate it. And I appreciate the support that these shows get. And also the latest, because without your guys' support, I would have been canceled a long time ago. So I'm glad I didn't get canceled because I need a job, guys. I need a job. And it's not easy to find a job in wrestling, especially when you're a girl and you got to constantly be hustling and trying to earn respect. And you know how it is. So you got to be hustling nonstop. And so I'm very, very thankful for this opportunity always. All right, let's see what else we got here. This is from Lenny Osborne, who says, I believe that Bryan's path will go Hager, Jericho, and eventually Kingston, who he holds personally responsible for his injury. Excellent main event. Love Garcia getting the win. Let's see what else we got here and see what people are saying. Eric Luis puts over Jericho, saying that he's funny when he talks about being a sports entertainer, and that part is good. We got AFC and TP, who says, even though the story of the match was clearly that Bryan Danielson rushed his return too fast and rationally Hager's hands was always going to ensure he lost, I still gasped out loud when Garcia actually got the win. I did too. I was in shock, guys. Like, I legitimately didn't know how to react. I thought, great for him, but damn, bro, I was not expecting that. And this is from MCAS Pito, who says, sorry, Denise, the interference was needed. Hager stopped Bryan's momentum, which allowed Garcia to hit sharpshooter. Best of luck on your wedding. Well, he could have stopped Danielson's momentum himself too. He didn't need Hager. He could have done it himself too. He could have found a way to stop his momentum for sure. But I think they did it, in a way so that it wouldn't feel like, I know why they did it. They just didn't really need it. Like, if you're going to go all the way, like if you're going to execute it, if you're going to have Daniel Garcia win, you might as well go full throttle. YT says the Hager reveal was lackluster. Oh, see what I mean? Like, yeah, I think that it wasn't needed. I don't think it was needed. I think he could have definitely done the interference. He could have stopped. He could have halted his momentum on his own. That's where I'm trying to get at. All right. And then King of Mundo says AEW storylines were on point today. Completely agree. But with my favorite was honestly my favorite thing from tonight. The most shocking thing was obviously Daniel Garcia getting the win. The best match of the night was oh man. I was very confident in my match of the night, and then I thought about it, and I was like, wait, I don't know. You know what? I'm going to go with Jon Moxley and Rush. I'm going to go with that one being my match of the night, but I know some people would say Bryan Danielson, Daniel Garcia. That's fine too, because I was tied there for a minute. And then obviously, the championship reveal and the Canada reveal was more so of just thank God that's finally happening. And then, but the Hobbs, Ricky Starks thing was for me like, isn't it crazy that like Hook winning the FTW championship isn't even the most talked about thing on the show today? Like, that's kind of crazy, because if this would have happened on any other show, this would have been like the big topic of the night. Like, talking about Hook winning the FTW championship would have probably been one of the biggest topics. And I nearly forgot about it right now when I was kind of just looking over the show one more time. But yeah, I think that the Hobbs Ricky Starks thing was, for me, the best thing on the show here today by far. But I get if people will say with the Daniel Garcia thing. I think that one was the most shocking, but I think the best for me was Hobbs and Starks for sure. Alrighty, guys. There you go. That was Fight for the Fallen, July 27th, 2022. I will be back for Smackdown and Rampage coverage this Friday. And then once again, I won't be here next week, but I will see you this Friday. Thank you guys so much as always. Please do not forget to go ahead and subscribe to F4W Online. Head over to my channel, youtube.com/Denise Salcedo as well for additional content that I post on there, including interviews and scrums and all of that good stuff. Twitter and Instagram @_Denise Salcedo. I'm still trying to get to 100,000 by the end of the year, and I'm so close to 75K right now. So please, if you haven't yet, head on over there and give that page a follow. I post absolutely everything on there. Alrighty, everyone. I will see you guys later. See you on Friday. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.